Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. Wassalam Salegum. We are here again with the Black News Network. We have allowed these Americans to hijack our brains. They have hijacked our brains. We are not thinking in the terms of what our ancestors intended us to think as. So now we got a situation where we've got to recapture our brain with our knowledge. This is the Black News Network, the real voice of Military City, USA, bringing you the news from a Black perspective. We don't own the rights to the music you were listening to, but we do own the rights to what we say. We got to do something about that. Our brains are our future. And right now, we don't own our brains. We are so hijacked. Everything in there is about what they do and about how we can fit in where they are. And I heard this the other day that Black people in America are considered a highly intelligent animal, not human, animal. Black people are considered a highly intelligent animal. And that is how we are viewed in hiding behind closed doors. That's what they say about us. So if you think that just because you Black and married to a white lady, that's going to bring you up a notch, you're still going to be who you were before all that happened. Now, I don't have any problem with mixed racial relationships. It's okay with me. But the problem is when you forget who you are and where you need to be going and what you need to be doing for your culture. Now, I asked somebody the other day, what is our culture? What do we do to signify that we have a culture here in America? The first thing came out of that person's mouth was, we have Juneteenth. Now, Juneteenth was a Texas thing, and it happened down Corpus Christi, somewhere down on the coast, where slaves were not freed in accordance with the Emancipation Proclamation. So a general from the Union Army had to go down there and make sure that the slaves were allowed to be free. That's what we had to do. That is the only holiday, or that is the only thing we really think of that's a Black culture thing. But we do the Martin Luther King March here in San Antonio. That's considered a Black culture thing. But before Martin Luther King March, what did we do as a culture? Now, don't get culture mixed up with events. Martin Luther King celebration in March, that's an event. Juneteenth celebration, that's a holiday. You know, so it's a situation where you're still being bamboozled with bullshit. Because why is it that you come out with the Juneteenth day as a holiday when Black people were getting murdered in the streets at an alarming number by the police? Then you put this shit out there. But never once have you addressed the situation with Black people getting killed in the streets. Not one time. But yet, let an Asian get a fire extinguisher fired up on them, and then it's all over the damn front page news. Let an Asian get attacked walking down the street, it's all over the front page news. But let a Black get shot in the back of the head, you have to search for it. And if somebody Black didn't catch that shit on camera, we would never know about it. Never know about it. Here it is 2.5, 3 years after Breonna Taylor got murdered in her own home. We're not safe any damn where. The cop that did the shooting pleaded guilty. Now, what good is that now? Is he in prison? Has he been in prison for the last 2 years? I doubt it. They are allowing police officers to go on a turkey shoot with black men. Black men are being killed still at an alarming rate, and our White House has not said a damn thing about it. Nobody wants to deal with the elephant in the room. Nobody wants to deal with that elephant. That elephant is the police. They're the ones who are doing it, and they continue to do it because they continue to get a pass on killing black males. So what are we going to do to make that different? We ain't going to do shit right now because we can't get together in unity. We got about 45 nonprofit organizations working over on the east side. But what would take all of those 45 organizations to have a meeting and go after one thing? Go after getting one thing changed. That is the reason they don't pay us no mind, because you see down at City Hall during the council meeting, there's one or two black people up there working a particular project, and they hear what you're saying, but they don't do shit about it because you are down there by your damn self. And that is our problem. I've been preaching unity, unity, unity for the last 3 years, and I'm still preaching unity because I think we can do it as black people. We have what we're supposed to have. Now, let's look at our kids going to school. There is no way you can think that a white kid and a black kid received the same education at the same school. It doesn't happen. The white kid is about 27% higher than the black kid when they test. Because the black kid is lacking in math, science, English, and writing and all that stuff. Black kids are lacking in those departments. Some reason they don't pay attention to black kids with learning disabilities, or just not learning because they used to acting out or doing whatever they do. So people in school right now are acting like it's not an important thing for them to focus on the black male and teach them how to be a more productive citizen and how to read better, how to do math better. Because when they test and they get those low scores, it doesn't help them at all in making decisions to go to college, making decisions to go into the military. Because if you want to go into the military, it's based on the scores on a test. It's called an ASVAB test. And when you take the ASVAB, you score in several categories. And the category that you score the highest in, and if it's past the minimum threshold, then they offer you jobs based on your scores. But if all your scores are low, the only thing they're going to offer you is 11 Bravo, infantry, ground pounding soldier. That's what they're going to offer you. I'm speaking of the Army, but there are other services. You can try any one of them, but your ASVAB scores work on all of them. So that is something you have to work out. This country is so in a negative way with blacks. We have to understand why. It's because of the power and the control. They are losing control of what they can do with black people. Just because slavery ended, just because we've had 160 years to get our shit together, that don't mean a damn thing. We are still in a situation where we need to pull together because we don't have the power. We don't have the control. And until we get the power and control of our own destiny, we're going to be behind the white man. We're going to always be looking up to the white man to get something from them. And it's not a damn handout. People can look at it and say, oh, all black people want to do is get a handout. That's a damn lie. That's a damn lie. We ain't just looking for no handout. We're looking for you to treat us the same way you treat them. And if you are not doing that, then we got an issue, because you should be able to go to school and come out of school testing the same as anybody else. And if you're not testing like that, then you're not being properly educated. Also, they're bringing in police officers at high school as if they're coming in there to maintain the peace, but they're coming in there to watch black people. But yet, here comes a guy with an M16 or M15, AR-15 rifle, and he can go walk up into school and do what the hell he want to do. And you got a damn police chief that don't know what to do. Even though they got policies on the record, this police chief does not know what to do. So that makes it a big, big problem. There were over 100 cops down there at Uvalde when all that stuff happened, and not one cop had enough sense to go and find that dude and take him out. Why was Arredondo just standing there begging him, please put your gun down? Can you put your gun down? Don't kill nobody else. He on the phone with the dude telling him shit like that. That ain't the way we can deal with our problems. Arredondo just got fired, by the way. We are not equally yoked in America as blacks. And because of that, we suffer. And it may not seem like suffering. Some of us are doing quite well, but we are definitely suffering because we own the fewest businesses in every single city. We own the fewest businesses in every single city. But the main thing is how we own barbershops, beauty shops, restaurants, and bars. I mean, I'm trying to look at, we have one foot doctor. I mean, we've got one black owning this company. We've got one black owning that one, and that's it. But that is where I'm trying to get us to see we can't do better, because this country made it that way, and they still keep it that way. They do not want us to get on the same level with them because of the power and the control. And that's what they keep us from moving for, over the power and the control. They don't want us to be up there because they want to keep the power and the control. And that's what they're trying to do. Now, you remember back in the 60s, Russia and the United States was in competition trying to go to the moon, right? So Russia achieved the first launch and launched a spaceship outside of the atmosphere. So America was pushing everybody to get a spaceship out of the atmosphere so they could beat Russia. So what did they do? They say we went to the moon to just so we could shut Russia up, but nobody went on a rampage to prove that they did not go to the moon. There's only one thing you see that man holding the flag up there on the moon, allegedly. They didn't go to the damn moon. I just can't believe it, because in 1968, if they went to the moon, why can't they go on a regular basis? They ain't went since then. Nobody has went to the moon since 1968. But now they're coming up with this damn thing called Artemis 1. Artemis 1 is being launched tomorrow, and they wanted to circle the moon a few times and then go towards Mars, and they wanted to go to Mars. I mean, you want to go to Mars, but you ain't even got to the damn moon. You can't put nobody on the moon to see if people can live there. But yet you want to go down to Mars, which is 1 trillion miles away, and it'll take them 2 years to get there for you to learn if Mars is an inhabited state or inhabited planet. What are we going to do once we find out if there are other people out there? What are we going to do different? Not a damn thing. What are we going to do? Buckle down, everybody build a basement so they can hide from the damn aliens? We are not the only people in the universe. So why would we think that we are the only people in the universe? God serves all mankind and all things as well. So how is it that they can tell us that they going to Mars and they have not went to the moon? Donald Trump is in the news 365 days a year. And because he's in the news, it makes him very, very popular. Everybody on the planet know who Donald Trump is. Now, Donald Trump did some shady shit, and now he's in trouble behind it. There's about 4 different lawsuits going after Donald Trump about some of the things he may have done. He's accused of doing. And one of those things is those sensitive documents. He asked the Congress or the Department of Justice asked Donald Trump to give back those documents, but Donald Trump did not do it. They asked him in several different formats and ways to turn those documents back in. So when he failed to meet all these expectations of him bringing those documents back, then the FBI went into Mar-a-Lago and took them. So how can you say that they are violating this man's civil rights when he's violated America's civil rights by taking those documents out of the White House and taking them to his private residence? He had 67 confidential documents, 92 secret documents, and 25 top secret documents. All these documents have the potential of ruining someone or somebody or something in the American government. Now, think about it. These top secret documents could have been about agents that are undercover in different countries doing different things. But with Donald Trump holding the pie, something's wrong with that picture. So when they went in there and took those documents, they did what they should have been doing a year ago, a long, long time ago, and they should have searched every damn thing he took out the White House. Because I'm absolutely sure he done took a bunch of shit out that White House, and they only went in there for documents. But they saw many of the things that were in Mar-a-Lago that he took from the White House. That includes $1 million portraits, $1 million bust of people or presidents or anybody else. All of these things were taken from the White House and taken to Mar-a-Lago. So we allowed this man to bamboozle and run right over us. Well, we didn't do it, the Republican Party did. But I have no love for the Republican Party and no love for the Democratic Party, because it seems to me that they both are doing the things that does not help the American people. Now, the Democrats try to act like they work for the underclass and the American people, and they always lying and they always coming up with a bunch of bullshit, but none of that bullshit affects us. Now, we were talking about this loan forgiveness shit, right? They want to give $10,000 to the basic student, and the max is $125,000 or something like that, depending on your situation and your category. But to start with a $10,000 relief of your $250,000 debt to a university, your education loans, is preposterous. Why $10,000? Look at what you did for Ukraine. You gave Ukraine over $240 billion, not $1 million, $1 billion of military equipment and money. But yet, when it comes to the American people, you can't get over 10,000. That's the bullshit that we have to deal with. They also found that there was 20 some senators in the House, in the Senate, that took out PPP loans and did the loan forgiveness. Millions and millions of dollars in loan forgiveness sit right there in the Senate. Now, I ain't gonna say none of the Democrats did it, but they probably did it too. But that list of people should be coming out any day now. But a lot of those people in there are gonna get reelected because these asinine ass people don't want nobody else in there, and they keep the same people in there because if they don't, a black person gonna get in there, and they cannot relinquish the power and control. Power and control. And as long as they got it over us, they are comfortable in what they do in the White House. But the moment they lose power and control over us as black people in America, indigenous Americans, they will be in trouble the moment they lose it. Power outages in Cuba are rampant right now. Every night, the power goes out in Cuba. Now, what that means is the people have to move out of their places because they have no air conditioning, and they move out on the street and they cook dinner on the street and they sleep on the street because it's cooler out there than it is in their places. Not everyone, but many of the people now are going on the street at night because there's no power in the building. And it's going like that in Cuba for some reason. Nobody, I mean, it's a communist country, so it should be self-sustaining the people. And that's what it's supposed to do. But the government's not taking care of the people in Cuba. So eventually, it may change from communist to a republic, just like we are, a democratic society. It's unrest over there in Africa and Libya. I mean, they're shooting and killing people, and it's just something that we can't do shit about. But watch, you don't hear America talking about it. But as soon as Russia go over there and start screwing with Ukraine, it's all over the damn news every day, better than Donald Trump news. There's got to be a leadership strategy in our community. And that leadership strategy got to come from somewhere. I see something, and I guess the worst part about it is we invite the same damn people to do the same damn thing year after year after year after year. And when we do that, that makes us the bigger damn fools because if you keep doing the same thing, you keep getting the same thing. Some kind of way like that. So you're only getting what you put in it. So all these people that call themselves leaders on the east side ain't did nothing but screwed over the people because the people are the ones who ain't got shit going for them. But these leaders, so-called black leaders, are getting all the money and they bitch enough and the city will throw them some money and they shut the hell up. That's what they do, and they've been doing it for years. For plenty of years. Ain't shit been right since James Meyer and Reverend Callis set up that Martin Luther King march. Ain't nothing been right since then. When they fell off, which was not probably natural, I don't think. I know it wasn't natural for Mr. Meyer because he was one of the best lawyers in the country for black people. And right now I'll say he's the smartest lawyer in the country because just because he got a fetish with what he does not make him not a brilliant man. He's still a brilliant man. But nobody seems to want to pay attention to what he has to say, even though we know he's telling the truth. We know that. he's telling the truth. And that is something we have to learn and have to do with our people, is not ignore the things that they tell us. There are over 300,000 teacher shortages in this country. We need 300,000 teachers all over the country. And that's something we have not been able to accomplish. Teachers are on strike in Columbia, Ohio. I mean, they're marching in front of the schools. So all these things are going on in this country. We got a shortage of teachers. We got a shortage of food. We got a shortage of coffee. We got a shortage of toilet paper. All of these, we got a shortage of baby food. And then we see them throwing baby food out in the landfill, burning it. That's the kind of shit we have to do. We are living in bad times right now, and these times are gonna cause us a whole lot more than what we think. New York State is short 85,000 teachers. Oh, I'm sorry, that's not 85,000 teachers. A New York teacher can get about $85,000. Florida, at the same time, can only get about $50,000, or the same type of person with the same credentials only going to get $50,000. And it goes on down, on down, on down. You know, in New York, that's $23,000 more than Florida. You know, even more, and depending on their credentials of what they're going to get. America, as we already know it, not only America, any other place in any other country that America went or Britain went, they had to go in with an act of cruelty in order to take it over and design it the way they wanted it. Like they created all these countries in Africa, being that Africa is a continent. Now they got all these countries there, and those countries were created by the British. So now the Africans are living that way because the British did these things and they think they did them a favor, but they were doing just fine before the Brits went over there. So right now, Africa is having to deal with the democracies that Britain set up, and many of those Africans don't really want to hear that shit. They don't want it. In New Mexico, somehow, some way, four Indian men were killed at different times. And those four men were killed because they had some type of affiliation with something in India, that this guy came over and started taking them out. They all had some type of relationship. Something was going down with them. So that is something we have to pay attention to as well. And if you think that the Twin Towers was the end of Osama bin Laden, we got another thing coming. He's dead, but he has offsprings and children and faithful people that are still there looking at what they can do for Osama bin Laden. So we have to keep our due diligence up and keep our guards up and not allow ourselves to get caught up in the bullshit that's going on here in America. But we have already started to lose our psychology. There was a car going down the highway the other day, and the lady happened to just accidentally cut somebody off. And the guy that she cut off sped up and went around the car and got in front of her and stopped. So she had to stop. So he jumped out of the car with a gun and came to her window and held it at her window with the gun. But he didn't shoot. He just gave her some words, and then he went back and got in his car. So what if she had a gun too? That would have been a shootout right there on Interstate 35. So all these things are happening, and we have to come up with a better way to deal with it. We cannot allow the stress of what's happening here in America to take us deeper into a problem area. We got to keep ourselves mentally strong and away from the trouble. I mean, you can always remove yourself from any situation and even traffic. If you know traffic is messed up at 8 o'clock in the morning, don't get on the highway at 8 o'clock in the morning. That's basically all you have to do. You got to figure out ways around what's actually going down here in this country. And if you're in Florida, you catching hell because Ron DeSantis, he's on everybody's case. He's talking about the school teachers, the business owners, the public servants. He's talking about everyone that don't agree with him. So we have to do something about that, man. He wants to run for president. That's why I'm saying that. Um, the white days are gone, though. The white days are gone, and they're not coming back. So these white people can sooner or later they're gonna get used to it. So the same people that stopped those people, those Little Rock Nine people, from going to the white public schools, are the same people right now saying we need to do the CRT, critical race theory. That's not telling people about the history. And they created the history. Listen at that. They created the history with slavery and all this other stuff, thinking that they're superior. They created that history, and they didn't allow those little girls to go to that school, the Little Rock Nine to go to that school. And now those very same people are sitting in our government and saying that we don't want our children to know what we did to your children. Ain't that some shit? We don't want our children to know what we did to your children. These people are the biggest hypocrites on the planet. America has got a lot of bullshit going on, and we're going to have to figure this shit out, or we're going to perish as black people, because they are not going to just give us the power and control. And if we don't do something about the power and control, we're going to be left out in the boonies without what we need. We're at the half point of the show. This is War Smith with the Black News Network, the real voice of Military City, USA. We broadcast on Sunday at 3:30 to 4:30, and then we broadcast again on Wednesday from 7 to 7:30. So we ask you to come in, look at it, like us, subscribe to us, do any of these things that you can do to help us promote this show. Now, reason we have this show is to allow our people to have a different perspective of news. Because if you're listening to CNN all day long, Fox News all day long, they corrupting your damn mind, because they're not telling news to help you. They're telling news to help white America. And that is the issue we have to deal with. They're helping white America with the news that they provide. Now, who's helping the black people with the news that they provide? No one. That's why we have the Black News Network. You know, you people, the people that's taking their kids to daycare, and you know, you have to do something if you want to work. So if you're taking your kids to daycare and you don't know what's really going on, you should require your daycare to have a camera system on all areas that you have access to, because a spy cam caught this lady mishandling toddlers. Had a leg across the stomach of one toddler, and she had a hand and a leg of another one. Now, these are your kids. So if you don't start watching what's happening in these daycares, these people are going to mentally destroy your children. You have to be very attentive to what's going on. If you go and you pick up your child, this ain't that Bernie Mac shit where he beat their ass with a hammer. This is about people doing harm to your children. If somebody's doing harm to your child, then that's a reason that they don't need to have a daycare because something's wrong there. And I don't know if they're doing all the background checks and everything else they're supposed to do when people are in those positions. We have to figure out why they are there when they do the things they do. And if they have a history of doing that kind of stuff to other people, they may. There's another spy cam situation where this lady, this I think she was Oriental, she was pouring, both of them were doctors, by the way. She was pouring Drano in his tea or in whatever he drunk in the morning, orange juice. And he said, damn, this orange juice tastes funny. And it tastes funny, but you still drinking that shit and you know you're tearing up your stomach and you got to go to the doctor because you shitting everywhere. Then you got a problem because you're trusting too damn much. If something's wrong with what's happening with you, rest and believe you should check every damn avenue of stuff going into your body. Everybody should look out for that, especially looking out for our kids. If you're living a life right now and you're halfway done and you're doing pretty good, you can make things work for you. You got residual income coming in. You can pay your mortgage. You can pay your rent. You can pay whatever bills you may have. Then your life at this point in time should be a life of service. Now, you probably say, well, where can I be helpful at? You have to find your own way because nobody can tell you what to do in service for anybody because you are the only one that can make that decision. You're the only one who know what time you may have and what you may be able to do. You're the only one that can do that. So you should figure out how you can live your life of service. So when it's time to go through that pearly gate, you can say, I spent this time in a life of service. Did you know about Emmett Till's accuser? Now they are no longer trying to pursue her and arrest her and hold her accountable for what she did. She had that boy killed. But that's typical in America. Who thought it was going to be different? Why would you think it's going to be different when you know how America rolls? That's what they do. They do it that way. Emmett Till, though, I mean that situation was too bad. That was really bad. We've been having all these things for 100 years. Black men being tortured and killed, and we go march and we shall overcome and we're done, and we go back to work for the white man. And then you miss a day of work because you need to protest with the black people. The white man will fire you. So what does that tell you? It should tell you that you should be looking for a way to get out from under that white man's thumb. Because right now, you should not be concerned with a white man firing you from a job. You have to come to a point in your life where you have several streams of income and you're not particularly focused on pleasing Mr. Billy all damn day long for 8 hours a day, and then you stay another hour and you don't get paid for it because you like that. You go over and above in your particular job. That's what we do as black people. We go over and above because we want the white man to see us really paying attention to his business and taking care of his business. So we'll stay an hour over our regular time of departure. We'll skip our lunch break because there's work that has to be done. And then we go home. But yet, the person that goes to lunch every day, the person that leaves when it's time to leave, make more than you do. And they do that because they want you to be in the position you're in. And as long as your mentality is that you can't do no better, you ain't going to do no better. You got to get out of that situation because they taking you for a ride. And they taking advantage of us all across this country, everywhere. And don't think racism is just here in America. You can go to Australia, you got the same damn thing. They just killing those poor Aborigines down there. You can go to any of these countries. Look at what happened in Ukraine. And then you take my damn taxpayer money and send it over to Ukraine. They wouldn't let the black people get on the damn bus. This happens everywhere. Everywhere. There are white people, there are white people in control, and there's racism in existence. That's what's happening here in America. We all took a decision to either go to college or go to work. In other words, or maybe even a vocational school. You might have went to the vocational school, you might have went to work, you might have did anything, excuse me, that you chose to do, but either way, you chose that career path. So you finish college and you got all this money that you borrowed, and they don't want to act right with that money when they talk about forgiveness. And the president don't give a shit about y'all owing all this money. They don't care, because if they cared, they would not be trying to hold you accountable for over $100,000. So everybody that's over $100,000 should be brought down to $100,000. That's a good cut. I mean, they still owe money, but nobody owes more than $100,000. Why didn't they think of something like that? Nobody wants to think of what benefits the people here in America. They think of things that benefit the Senate and the House, because we're just the chattel out here telling people that we need to vote. We need to vote. And you're right, we do need to vote. You think these people ain't staying up there in those positions for nothing. They're staying up there in those positions because they got people believing that they can do one right thing and 9 screwed up things. And that's what they do. They'll do one good thing and the people will love them. And then they'll do 9 screwed up things and nobody wants to say anything. Trump can do what the hell he wants to do, and people still think he won the election. But they still run around with the big lie. That's what they're calling it now, the big lie. Now, how can you be a person of that level now, and you are the lowest asshole you can find, the dirtiest asshole you can find? He is just a dirty man. But people love his dirty draws. They love him. And they will do whatever it takes for Donald Trump to stay in office or to get back in office. So Donald Trump will more likely get through these lawsuits and end up running for president again. And he might just win because people are just that damn gullible. And if we don't get ourselves together and pick up where we need to and start voting the way we should vote, then we are going to be the ones left out in the cold. No laws or nothing will be passed in the House or the Senate that benefits black people. Nothing. And it's going to continue to be nothing until we get a concerted effort in one direction to get something to help us. And we ain't asking for no damn handout. We asking for us to come together in unity and get somewhere with it. There's so many issues that we got to work ourselves through. And if we don't start working ourselves through these issues, 20 years from now, we're going to hear somebody doing exactly what I'm doing, talking shit about black people not having unity. How come we got to keep going through the same damn thing every damn year, every week, every day? Why can't we trust each other and be honest with each other and stop trying to bullshit each other. Because that is our problem. We want to bullshit each other and take what the other person got and take advantage of the other person rather than allowing you two to come together with your specialized resources and do what we need to do as black people. It's a damn shame sometimes. It is really bad. We got the police against us. We got the white folks against us. We got the Chinese against us. Everybody hates a black man. We got the Germans against us. We got the Australians against us. I can just go around the planet and tell you how all these people do not like American Negroes, because American Negroes do not like each other and they don't work together. And as long as we don't work together, we are going to continue to have the same issues that we have. And people come up with these little slick things, right? They come up with these little slick things that they say, like a gangster. The word gangster, Ganster, gangster. People came up with this little term, and I hear these things all day because people let me know. Give a N-word a gun seems to elevate rage. Gangster. Give a N-word a gun seems to elevate rage. Ain't that something? People could come up with something that particular about what we do. Tell me somebody that ain't got somebody screwed up in their family. Everybody got somebody screwed up in their family. And that's the same person we sometimes don't want to invite to these parties that we have. That's the type of person you don't want to be seen out in public with because they're a problem. But those people are the ones who are real. The people that you think are messed up in your family are the ones that are true to themselves and real to other people. So you have to get used to them and understand where they come from, because they are not assimilating like you. They're not trying to fit in like you. They're being themselves. So don't go so hard in the paint against somebody that you think is screwed up, because you don't understand why their life may be the way it is. You're going to have to learn more about your family, because it may be something that happened to that individual that caused them to be that way, and only a certain generation know what that is. There are so many Cubans leaving Cuba. They found 4 or 6 Cubans on a refrigerator floating out in the ocean, and the cruise ship picked them up, coming from Cuba trying to get to America. That's how bad it is. Um, Florida, I'm sorry, Dallas has had a really big flood over the last week or so. Only one person died, though. But right now, down at the Pearl River, right outside of West Jackson, you'll see that the Pearl River is about to go over the bridges. And it's on CNN right now if you want to see it. But the people in Mississippi are being advised to get out right now because, well, just the ones on the borders of the Pearl River. They're being asked to leave because the water is coming. And water ain't no joke. Ask them people that never thought it would flood up in Dallas. And like I was saying, that the police now, when they beat this dude up in Arkansas, they were slamming his head to the ground. They were going back to Mississippi and coming back and kicking him in the ribs, trying to break his ribs. They beat the shit out of this young man. And right now, you don't hear anything else about it. Those officers need to be put in jail and brought up on charges. They're the ones who assaulted that man. They assaulted him. So why won't they put them officers in jail? Because they all work together. They work together. That's what we need in the Black community, a strong unification of Black people, just like the police. They got it and they making it work. And one out of 40 go to jail. The other 39 get off on killing Black people. They don't even get questioned. And then you can see it plain as day on tape. And yet you say you got to do an investigation. That's the rhetoric that we get here in the United States of America. That is why I've went to the state of Mississippi and authenticated my birth certificate, and now I'm awaiting it to be done in Washington, D.C. at the Secretary of State. Now, people want to know, why would you authenticate your birth certificate? Because every living person on this earth with a birth certificate has a control number. And if they change your name in any type of way, you are you have a straw man. Basically, that's what they're saying. You have a straw man that represents you as a commodity in the stock market. All these people in America got it. So if you don't do what I'm doing by getting your birth certificate authenticated, and that means that the state no longer has jurisdiction over you, then you are part of the state. You're part of the country. You can't get away from it because you signed up for it when you accepted a birth certificate for your child. So now you do it, once you get your documents back from the state, you go to the federal level, and then you submit certain documents to them, and then they send you an authentication back. And then now you're absolved from the rules and regulations that the American citizen is under. You are no longer an American citizen. You're an indigenous American. Because these are the Americas from Venezuela on up. This is the Americas on up through Canada. And as an individual who were here, or descendant of people who were here before the white men came in on the East Coast, we are those people. The Africans came in on the West Coast. The white people came in on the East Coast. And they came in thousands of years before they came in on the East Coast. So that's why there were Black people here in this country before I ain't even gonna say that man's name, before they thought they had people that came in on Plymouth Rock. Now, we are indigenous Americans, but once they tell you you're a citizen, or what's your citizenship, then you become a part of chattel, and you're legal to be traded on the stock market. That's how that works. Lastly, we are a Black people in need of leadership. Every leader we've had over the last 100 years have been killed, murdered, assassinated. Martin Luther King was our last hope. We haven't had a strong leader since then. Someone, somewhere, will have to start to lead the Black people in the country, not just in your parish, not just in your city or your state, but the country. We need a national leader to tell Black people what we should be doing and how we can come together and do it. That is where we are. But we are not going to move forward. We're going to keep going round in a circle like a rat in a coffee can because we are not united. And the only way we're going to get united is if we come up with a national leader. Not low. These local leaders are so full of shit. They're the ones taking the money from the city and the city giving it to them to shut their asses up. And they so damn stupid, they screwing over all the people by shutting up and taking the money. That's what it is. That's what we've come to. And not only is it here, it's all over the country. We're in a bad situation, my people. We're in a bad situation. This is the real voice of Military City, USA, bringing you the news from a Black perspective. I do not own the rights to the music, but I do own the rights to what I say. So without further ado, I want to see you Wednesday at 7 p.m. on the Black News Network. Have a nice day and take care of your families.